I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to take full responsibility of your emotions and stop blaming people. Stop criticizing, stop blaming, stop judging, and understand a principle that I'm going to share with you in this video, which is that it's never them, it's you. And I understand that sometimes we can believe that it's them, and sometimes there are situations that happen where we really do have to consider that sometimes the other person is to blame to some degree. But I'm also going to be sharing with you in this video how that perspective is also going to keep you stuck in your life if you continually point fingers out there, how to stop this and what to do instead. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell. Also, all the details to work with me are going to be down below. Now, I want to share with you a principle, which is that it's never them, it's you. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the thing is that a lot of the times we like to think like, oh, my parents are the reason why I can't become the person that I want to be. Or this past relationship is the reason why I can't be the person that I want to be. Or this friend that I have is the reason why I can't be the person that I want to be. Or this person is why I'm angry. Or this person is why I'm spiteful. Or this person is why I feel negative. Or it's externally always giving away the power. And so a lot of us genuinely believe that the reason why we can't feel how we want to feel and become the person that we want to be is because of something that somebody else did or whatever. And so what I want to share with you is to just completely remove that idea from your experience just for a moment, right? I understand that there's this idea, it's like no, it's always the person. Well, I understand that perspective, but all I'm saying is that for a moment, try to embody the perspective that actually it's never them, it's you. It's always you, no matter what. Even if somebody did the worst thing to you, it's you. That's how I live my life personally. And I've seen some people do some nasty things. I've seen some people do some really negative things. I see a lot of toxicity in the world. I see a lot of negativity. But you know what I always say? It's never them, it's me. I'm feeling this way. Somebody could be super angry at me, yelling at me, saying something really negative. They maybe even could stab me in the back or say something really hurtful. And I'll say, you know what? I'm angry right now because of me. It's not them. And I'll perhaps even walk away from the situation. Many people want to fight back because they want to be the noble person. I want to fight back, be the noble person. Are you being noble? Or are you feeding the negative energy that you're trying to run away from? This reminds me of a quote. I was watching an Eckhart Tolle video, and he said something really powerful, which is like, if you try to fight monsters, you end up becoming a monster yourself. Which is an interesting perspective, isn't it? If you try to fight monsters, you end up becoming a monster. If you judge and blame and criticize, oftentimes the judging and the blaming and the criticizing puts you into this energy where you're becoming the exact thing that you don't want. So the thing that you're resisting, the thing that you're fighting with, you end up becoming exactly that thing that you don't want. So this is why I think it's so critical to just remove this idea completely that anybody's making you feel anything. Nobody makes you feel anything, really. And again, I know the rebuttal. It's like, Francis, what about this? What about my past? What about my parents? What about my toxic parents? What about my toxic relationship? What about this? What about that? It's never them, it's you. It's not, oh, so you know what? You notice this urge or this emotion, this very compelling emotion, this feeling that makes you want to fight and blame? Just look at that. It's just a feeling. Does it have anything to do with the truth of the situation, really? Or is it just your perspective about the situation? Now, I get it. There's a lot of negative things. I know, and I know it's repetitive, but I need to be a little bit repetitive here because I need to speak to the resistance that many people can have in their life around just wanting to feed that negative energy more and more to go, here's why, what. But see, the people that often are defending why I'm wrong are feeding more negative energy in their life. See, the same people that defend why the advice that I'm sharing is incorrect are also the same people that are stuck in loops of negativity and arguing and fighting and not being the person that they want to be, not producing the results that they really desire. And you never notice that people that judge and complain and criticize the most, they're not really changing in their life. They're not really producing any powerful results. They're never actually making the changes that they want in their life. They're always just complaining and judging, and it's not ironic at all. It's not ironic whatsoever. It's not ironic that the people that complain and judge and are the most negative are the ones that often never change in their life. That is not a coincidence. If you think that's ironic and that's an accident, you might need to self-reflect. Reminds me of another quote. I don't remember where I got this from, but the quote is, anger is like, I think Sadhguru said it or something. Anger is like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to get hurt. Isn't that what anger is? And look, I'm not saying that feelings are unjustified. I'm not saying that people don't have a right to feel how they feel. It's like, I'm not saying it's like, well, shouldn't this person feel this way? Like if somebody like criticize them or judge them or blame them or attack them or did something really bad, don't they have like a right to feel that way, Francis? Of course you have a right to feel any way that you want. But the question is, do you care about your energy and do you care about your peace? And also, how wise are you? How wise are you really? Because like, look, if somebody was to like, let's just say I'm in public and somebody was like try to cause like a fight with me. I don't really get into these situations because I protect my energy to not even get into these types of environments and situations. But you know, life is life. Anything can happen. And if I was to get into some maybe survival situation where somebody wanted to like fight with me and I had an opportunity just to leave and not fight, I would just leave and not fight. Many people think that the manly thing to do is to defend yourself and fight. And I need to defend myself and fight this person and win. Look, if I really had to, then I would fight. But if I don't have to, I'm just gonna leave. And I'm just gonna watch other people fight and I'm gonna avoid the chaos. See, wise people, what they do is, I don't know that I want that to happen, but it's like if I start getting into the chaos and I start fighting with the chaos, I'm going to become like the chaos. You see what I'm saying? So what I do instead is I see any opportunity to leave that situation, to have boundaries with that type of situation, to, not allow myself to get into these types of situations in the first place. I don't like to use words like fool and wise people, but it's kind of funny if you think about it. Like a foolish person, and I don't mean to tag anybody. It's like I don't want to attack my audience, but if you think about it, what a foolish person will do is step up for themselves and fight. A wise person will, number one, not even get into that situation to begin with because they're so protected, or they will leave any opportunity that they can. Like let's just say you're at war. You don't really want to be at war. Just say you're literally in a war. You don't really want to actually fight anybody or anything, do you? You don't actually want to fight. Nobody wants to fight. Nobody wants to shoot at the people and fight. So the best thing you can do, I know this is a really sensitive topic. I know this is very, very sensitive and this may be emotional for some people, and I understand that. I understand that what I'm saying is very sensitive and that it's a very sensitive topic and people go through past situations. Hey, I even knew a mentor that literally was on the battlefield. One of my mentors was literally on the battlefield. Thank God he survived. But the thing is that if you're in war, the best thing you probably can do in that situation, I don't know, I've never been in that type of scenario, but if I was in that situation, I would avoid the battle at all costs. At all costs, I would actually avoid battling and doing anything of any sorts. I would protect myself and make sure that I can protect the people around me, and I would avoid getting into the chaos. Right? If you're in a survival situation, doesn't that make complete sense? And if somebody's really, really angry, they're like, oh, I'm going to defend myself and I'm going to go into battle, and you watch them die, are you going to go join him? I'm not going to join him. I'm not going to go join him in the battlefield. I'm going to just stay over here. Now, I get the rebuttal. It's like, well, you need to protect your teammates. But what if we all try to just stay protected and avoid battles to begin with? Or better yet, not even have a war to begin with. Again, if you're already in war, something happened that was in imbalance. Something was imbalanced. You know what I mean? But if you're somehow in that situation, I would think the best thing to do is not even to get into any kind of chaos. And I know that many people disagree, but obviously we're not on the battlefield, so just keep that in mind. We're not on the battlefield. There's no war happening. Hopefully speaking, wherever you live, there's no war happening. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, you're in a normal environment for the most part. Maybe even if you have some toxic relationship. And of course, I'm giving an extreme example here. This is a very extreme example to highlight the fact that, let's say you have a toxic family member. And I say toxic in that way. I'll share with you why I say toxic in that way in a second. The best thing you want to do is just avoid conflict and avoid confrontation. Now, I'm not saying that conflict can't happen. Sometimes conflict needs to happen. Sometimes conflict and confrontation needs to happen. So it's a balance act. It's a balancing act, right? Like, you don't want to be so like, oh, I'm just going to be so wise and so spiritual that I'm just going to avoid all the war and I'm not going to have any conflict. No, conflict can happen. But also, how conscious are you of the emotions that are happening in your body in that process? And how conscious are you of the fact that you don't want to be making any ridiculous decisions that are based upon some kind of extremely reactive pattern based on something that maybe happened a long time ago? Because this whole conflict that could be happening could be a result of maybe something that you were holding on to that happened like 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So the reason why you're even in conflict to begin with is because maybe you're holding on to some resentment that happened 50 years ago in your life with some old relationship or something. Or maybe you're viewing this person in some way that you didn't let go of. You were holding on to some situation. You were holding on to some negativity in terms of that, seeing that person in a way. And now you're in conflict. But if you took responsibility to begin with from the very start, and you decided, you know what, it's not them, it's me, and you let it go, that conflict could have not even happened. You see what I'm trying to say? So it's like, it's this balance act, right? If the conflict already happens, you're going to be conscious, you're going to navigate that space accordingly, and you want to make sure that you're trying to balance things out, be in the conflict fully. Don't run away or avoid the conflict necessarily because you're already in that situation. Again, it's kind of like contradictory. It sounds contradictory, but hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. But the thing is that, what I'm trying to say is that anger really is drinking poison and expecting somebody to get hurt. Sometimes you're going to be logical about the situation. Your feelings can be very, very deceiving. Your feelings can lie to you. Sometimes a feeling has nothing to do really with reality, and it's just a feeling. And then you base all these decisions based on a feeling, and then you put this person in a box, and then you're fighting them, and then you're seeing them in all these different ways, and it's like, think about how ridiculous that really is. Sometimes we don't see the madness of it because we're lost in the madness. Sometimes you can lose yourself so much in the madness that you don't even see that it's madness anymore. You've become so insane that you don't even see that you're insane. The insanity has took you over. And of course, doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result is, of course, the definition of insanity. And most people are not conscious of this. So really, anger is an emotion that I'm not telling you to resist. I'm not telling you to run away from anger. I'm not telling you to not feel your emotions and to be apathetic or to pretend like your emotions don't exist. Actually, seemingly, what it might not seem like this sometimes when I'm talking like in my videos, actually what I'm encouraging you to do in your life is to feel every emotion 100%. Not 20%, not 50%, not 90%. What I'm encouraging here is to feel every single emotion fully 100% and to resist absolutely nothing. But what that doesn't mean is to let your anger control you and to let your ego run wild. So when I say something like feel your emotions 100%, I see how, as I'm speaking, that can be taken as an excuse to let your ego run wild and to let your emotions be completely unregulated and to be a monster, to be a kind of a crazy, reactive, blaming, criticizing, judgmental, narcissistic, toxic person. Did I say toxic twice? I don't know, right? That's not what I'm saying to feel your emotions 100%. When I say feel your emotions 100%, I'm pointing to something where you can be conscious of all these emotions, but learn to redirect them and not lose yourself in the emotional reactivity. And so when you're noticing yourself get trapped in some unconscious box, If you're noticing yourself blaming and judging and criticizing and fighting and attacking, that's your cue to say, you know what, something is out of balance. Not that you're necessarily wrong for feeling that. Again, you're justified maybe for feeling angry. You're allowed to feel angry. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but in a way, the question also is, how much do you care about your energy? How much do you care about your peace? And also, how much do you care about helping the other person as well? Because if you truly care about helping the other person, you wouldn't get lost in their chaos. Because actually, what I believe is that letting yourself get lost in somebody else's chaos and then their chaotic energy, and then you start getting lost with them and you're both chaotic, that is not helping them or you. That's what you call a lose-lose situation. That's completely a lose-lose situation. That means that you lose and they lose. Now, how do you create what we call the win-win situation? Well, the win-win situation is about understanding that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself and the other person is to eject and not feed the toxic energy. Now, I said I was going to tell you, why am I saying toxic energy in that way? I'm saying it because what I'd like not to do is to see people as toxic or narcissistic or negative. And I understand, again, there's many people that do very negative things. I'm not turning a blind eye to that. There's many people that do a lot of very nasty, negative, and toxic, and you could even say narcissistic things. But personally, what I've noticed is that if I'm viewing somebody in some narcissistic or negative way, I can actually start feeding that negative energy and start losing myself in that chaotic energy. And now I'm putting them in a box and I'm putting myself in a box. And so it's not constructive, it's not productive for me or anybody else to see people as narcissistic. Now again, I'm not turning a blind eye to necessarily any negative or toxic things that are happening. But also at the same time, though, paradoxically and not ironically, I also am conscious of the fact that I need to be aware that if I'm seeing somebody as toxic or narcissistic or whatever, right, and then I'm getting an energy, that's not constructive. It's not beneficial. So I'm not saying that anger is bad. I'm not saying that negative emotions are bad. I'm not even saying that you shouldn't feel angry. It depends on where you're at in your life, right? Sometimes anger can be a great emotion to drive you forward and to push you to become the person that you want to be even. Sometimes anger can be a really good thing that you're becoming conscious of in a dynamic that can lead you to start to take control of your emotions. But all I'm saying is not to get stuck there for too long. And to stop blaming, and to see that on some level, eventually, staying angry and getting stuck there is drinking a poison. I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a health professional, but I'm willing to bet that when you're really, really angry and holding on to this anger and you're contracted and you're stuck and you're in this negative energy, right? You call it negative energy. I'm willing to bet that you feel that there's a lot of cortisol and stress hormones being released in the body during this entire process, right? It's not a fun process to be in whatsoever. It feels really negative. It doesn't feel like you're enjoying your life, and it just sucks, right? And if you were to monitor your body or whatever, I'm sure there's a lot of negative energy flowing through the body, and that's going to affect your health in a lot of ways. I would even say, I'm not a professional, but I would assume so, right? And so what I want to conclude this video with is to always just take ownership of how you feel. That's really what I'm saying here. Just take ownership of how you feel, no matter what it is. No matter how bad the situation might be. Because even if the situation is bad, so to speak, and I'm not saying that theirs isn't bad, but I'm just saying this to uplift you and perhaps put you into perspective that is conducive to you becoming the person that you want to be, all I'm saying is that what I personally in my life have started to take the perspective of, okay, you know what? It's always me. I'm the reason why I'm feeling this way. Even if they really did do something really negative, I still say, you know what? I'm the reason why I feel this way. It's me. It's me. You could say that's like the masculine thing to do or whatever. You could say that's like divine masculine or whatever you want to say. Look, call it what you will. I don't care if you're a man or if you're a woman. Really what I'm trying to say is just take ownership of how you feel. Whoever you are, wherever you are in life, I think that's one of the best things you can do to really regulate your emotions and to find peace, and then to start attracting others that are also resonating with that same type of energy as well. Because if you want to attract individuals that are resonating with the same type of energy as well, you're going to have to start to understand that you have to let go of these ties that are keeping your energy heavy and dense and stuck and not allowing you to feel how you truly want to feel. And this is what I believe to be true, and this has been my experience. And so all I'm speaking here is from experience. Do what resonates for you. But personally for me, staying stuck and heavy and dense and blaming and judging, criticizing others has not been beneficial for me or the people around me in my life, my loved ones, the people that I care about. It's never a beneficial thing whatsoever. So I've took it upon myself personally to have a perspective that it's always me, it's never them, no matter what. No matter what. And does that mean that I have a lack of boundaries? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that I allow chaos in my space? Quite the opposite, in fact. Right? Quite the opposite. What I'm saying is not to allow chaos in your life. I see that sometimes people can take what I'm saying and confuse it in terms of like, oh, so just have lack of boundaries, let yourself feel how you want to feel. Because quite the opposite. I'm actually saying the complete opposite of that. I'm saying to have very strong boundaries, to be very firm on the type of people that you allow into your life, to be very firm on who you invite into your space and who you don't invite into your space, to be very firm about how you carry yourself. That's what I'm saying here. To take responsibility of your emotions, how you feel, your peace, and the type of person that you are, and with that, and your peace, and just your overall life, and I'm going to include the video with that. Once again, all the details to work with me are going to be down below. As always, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.